In the life of an eye surgeon, there are those rare moments when he is removed from his day-to-day practice of examining patients, performing routine surgeries, and making available the customary services. Suddenly, unexpectedly, he is called upon to perform the extraordinary. One such day, as I focused my slit lamp onto the eye of a patient, oh my God, what is this? Is it a foreign body? Is it a worm in the eye? Or is it an UFO? Or is it a pearl in the oyster? As we searched through the medical records, we found that this 63-year-old gentleman was being treated for diabetic macular edema, and he had been injected with Ozutrex, a dexamethasone intravitreal implant. Ozutrex is an intravitreal implant containing 0.7 milligrams of dexamethasone in polymer sustained release injectable delivery system. This is preloaded into a single applicator to facilitate injection of the rod-shaped implant directly into the vitreous. This implant, in this particular patient, instead of diving into the ocean of the vitreous, lodged itself in the crystalline lens and presented to us as an iridescent pearl in the oyster. Instead of improvement of vision, the vision deteriorated to 636 N24. Both eyes showed cataractous changes, and the left eye showed up the Ozutrex as a foreign body. The intraocular pressure was within normal limits, and the fundus showed evidence of moderate non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy with diabetic macular edema and the presence of an epiretinal membrane. What do we do? Wait and watch? No, the vision was fast deteriorating. Remove the Ozutrex and the cataract and set in an IOL and do vitrectomy and inject a fresh Ozutrex into the eye, or extract the Ozutrex without damage, remove the cataract, implant an IOL, do off a vitrectomy and epiretinal membrane peeling, and place the same Ozutrex into the vitreous cavity. But at the end of the road, the million-dollar question: would this Ozutrex implant be still potent to work on this diabetic macular edema? The literature had no mention of any such experience. Thus we embarked on an expedition without a compass and a map. The pearl had to be extracted from its oyster and dropped into the sea. A central curvilinear circular capsular axis is prerequisite to any existing ruptured capsule, and this capsule definitely had a rupture. The entry point of the Ozutrex to the lens and the rupture was existing. The nucleus management, keeping intact the implant without a nucleus drop, was the first challenge. The anterior capsular rim is separated manually from the nucleus. Very gentle and controlled hydrodissection to enhance the mobility of the nucleus and to aid the management of the nucleus. But will the posterior capsule give away? Gentle hydrodissection and the nucleus spins with the embedded implant. Now to dissect the implant and emulsify the nucleus. The nucleus is chopped and emulsified. All looks well. So onward ho! The nucleus fragment harboring the implant is tackled last. It is finally turned on its belly, and we find that the implant is posteriorly placed. The implant is viscodissected and then separated from the main bulk by two blunt instruments. But it still stays anchored to the nucleus fragment. We are aware that this implant is very fragile and can break down on any direct impact. My vitreoretina colleague is there and suggests a silicone tip needle to aid dissection of the implant. A very valid suggestion, and the dissection is complete and the implant finally is there with a little lens matter clinging to it, and this is pushed to the periphery. The rest of the nucleus is removed, and then the inevitable happens. The anterior chamber deepens and a significant movement can be sensed. The posterior capsule has given away. Luckily, only the smaller fragments are there, and these are visco-manipulated out of the incision. The implant is lodged safely in the periphery. Next, anterior vitrectomy and removal of the cortex, but maintaining the position of the implant and preserving it. That is done. Now, over to the vitreoretina surgeon. 3 ports of the 23-gauge vitrectomy is done, and the remnants of the cortex is removed. Posterior vitreous detachment is initiated and the epiretinal membrane is peeled. The vitrectomy is completed. The implant is now very gently ushered into the vitreous cavity. The IOL is placed in the sulcus and snugly traps the implant in the vitreous cavity. The pearl settles on the seabed. On a follow-up of over 8 months, we find the macular edema resolving and the pearl gradually melting away. The diabetic macular edema gradually diminishes, and the vision from 636 N24 improves to 612 N10. As the pearl melts away, it leaves behind rich memories, strong perceptions, and pearls of wisdom.